Remember, Doreen will be going to the major roads in town, specifically Mombasa Road at the Bellevue footbridge to just check the situation there, give you a bit of history about that footbridge and what necessitated the construction or the putting up of that footbridge in the first place. But for now, just as Regina has told you, we want to go to just look at the financial sector here in Kenya, and especially just from the question that she has asked you, the big question that so many Kenyans ask: when my bank goes under, what next? What is done to just help this bank help me so that in turn I do not get affected? If you have any questions in regards to that, please feel free to send them in. And to help us with this discussion today, we have the privilege of having the Chief Executive Officer of the Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation here with us in studio, Mr. Mahmoud A. Mahmoud, and the A stands for Ahmed. I'm sure that's the question, the big question that most people always ask you: what does the A stand for? Karibu sana.
Thank you. Thank you, Jain.
Thank you for being with us this morning.
Yeah.
We do hope that you are able to just help educate Wanjiko out there to just understand what KDIC does in the first place. Now, let's just start with a bit of history of when KDIC came into operation and what really necessitated the formation of the Deposit Insurance Corporation.
Thank you, Jain. Thank you, Kenyans. It is good to be on the Good Morning Kenya show. I'm sure all Kenyans are watching us.
Yes.
And actually, it's a honor and a privilege for us to be here as KDIC, because KDIC is your partner in making sure that there's financial stability in this country. The first thing which everybody asks is, what happens when your bank fails? KDIC wants to assure Kenyans that our spirit, our vision, our dream is not to have any bank failure in Kenya.
Yeah.
That is where we want to start, so that Kenyans can relax, sit there and continue doing their banking business with the least disruption they expect. And in the unlikely event of any disruption, we want to assure Kenyans that we have mechanisms in place to efficiently resolve bank problems before they fail.
Before they fail.
So Kenyans, sit back, do your business, knowing that KDIC is there to ensure there will be no disruption in the banking business in the country. And that's where KDIC is. Now, going back to history, Jenny, have asked me about the history.
Yes.
KDIC was previously Deposit Protection Fund Board of Kenya, which started in 1986. And that was a department in the Central Bank of Kenya, which had a limited mandate. We call it a limited mandate because it only had the mandate of providing deposit insurance, insuring your deposits in the banks to a maximum of 100,000. And also to be appointed as a liquidator when the bank fails. That's why in the mind of every Kenyan, when the bank fails, when the bank fails, when the bank fails.
You always want to know the end goal, what will happen
when the bank fails.
Yes.
Now, in 2010, we said we also, because we are members of the International Deposit Insurance Association, and we did an assessment on our deposit insurance, and it was found that we need now to take it now to the next level, which is called a broader mandate. And this broader mandate now, we want to move from being a liquidator to being a risk minimizer. So I think Kenyans, you have to get this word called risk minimizer, because our business is to minimize risk. And once you minimize risk, you do what?
You avoid liquidation in the as a
Exactly.
whole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So once you see KDIC, know that KDIC is your partner to minimize risks.
So for the common wananchi out there, my border guy,
Yes.
helps, that's why we're having this discussion, just help them understand
Yes.
why KDIC is important even in the first place.
Thank you.
Yes.
So in 2010, we did an assessment. Indeed, I'm one of the assessors of international best practice. Actually, I'm the only one in Africa. So we did an assessment together with our other experts, and we found that there were gaps in the Deposit Protection Fund regime.
Yes.
So we wanted now to take Kenya now to the next level, because all this is in line with the fostering financial stability, because all this feeds into that public policy objective of fostering financial stability. And that is what we are made of. So it was found that Kenya deposit insurance should actually be now the precursor, should actually be the successor of the Deposit Protection Fund. What's the difference between that, a quick one, between that and DPF? DPF was a Department of Central Bank. Kenya Deposit Insurance and Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation is a body corporate established under an Act of Parliament called KDI Act.
Yes.
It's independent of Central Bank, and it works very closely with the Central Bank because we all drive the same public policy objective of fostering financial stability. So we have an independent board with an independent chairman. And currently we are now in the process of populating our structure.
Yes.
We are coming up with a new strategic plan, which now will drive now KDIC to where we want it to go. Where do we want KDIC to go? We want KDIC to be your true partner in ensuring financial stability is attained in our country, Kenya.
And how is the awareness process, especially for the common man, to just help him understand what KDIC is all about? What are some of the measures that are being put in place to just make sure that every depositor, everyone who's using any bank gets the guarantee that their money is safe?
Thank you, Jain. Indeed, in our new strategic plan, one of the main pillars is called, we shall be launching our strategic plan by next month. We'll make it public, and we'll even have a clinic for all Kenyans to come. In our strategic plan, one of its strongest pillar is what we call stakeholder engagement.
Yes.
And part of the stakeholder, and one of the activity under stakeholder engagement is public awareness. As we speak today, our brothers and sisters who are in Kisumu and its environs, there is a roadshow which is starting this morning from Jomo Kenyatta grounds, which will cover the whole of Kisumu. And we did one in Mombasa, which was very, very successful.
Yeah.
Now we want now to speak to the Wanjikos, to speak to the Atienos, to speak to every Kenyan, so that Kenyans can understand who KDIC is.
The our facilitators on ground would be actually explaining the nitty-gritties.
Exactly, Jain.
Okay.
We have a team well-trained. We have takeaways. Make sure once you see that track there, and we really want to thank KBC for this partnership. We are doing this in partnership with KBC, our broadcasting house, who actually are running for us the show. And our team is there, and make sure once you meet that team, ask any question you want to ask in any language. Indeed, last year, we were in all the vernacular radio stations. And people were asking, is KDIC a new bank? KDIC is not a new bank. KDIC is there to protect the banks. Who are the members of KDIC? All banks licensed and regulated, commercial banks and microfinances. And that is where you put your money. Please don't put any money under the mattress. Put your money in the banks, and we want to assure you that that money today and tomorrow is safe.
Now, are all banks required to be members of KDIC, or there's a certain protocol when it comes to the membership of your clients?
Membership is mandatory and is statutory.
For any financial institution in Kenya?
Yes, by law.
Yeah.
Licensed and regulated by the central bank. Both commercial banks are our members and microfinances. So all those are our members, and we want to tell, and soon you'll be walking into those, into the banks and the microfinances, you'll be seeing stickers there telling you that these are members of Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation. Those are part of our new initiatives work, and this is in line with international best practice.
Yes.
It's not something that we are coming up with. We are benchmarking with the international best practice so that we make KDIC a household name. We want Wanjik, when she sees KDIC, she knows, once she walks into her bank and she sees this bank is a member of KDIC, she knows her money is safe and she's being protected.
And what is required of the banks, excuse me, what is required of the banks to be able to, there has to be like a standard that is set for banks to be able to be part of the corporation as a whole, and their requirements that are, you know, the basic requirements for a bank to be part of KDIC. Now, what are those that have been set?
The first requirement, you must be licensed. And of course, when you are licensed, that means that you have fulfilled all the regulatory requirements by the Central Bank of Kenya.
All right.
Once you are licensed by the Central Bank of Kenya, you become a member of the bank. And once you become a member, you are now subjected now to the parameters of KDIC.
And what are these parameters?
These parameters are, you now, once you become a member of KDIC, you'll be paying an annual premium of 0.15% of your deposits. That's how we build our fund. And our fund is all invested in government bonds and government securities.
That 0.15, is it the basic or it's the minimum?
No, no, no. The minimum is 300,000 shillings. Or 0.15, whichever is higher. Because some banks, maybe when they open, they have already not even attracted deposit.
All right.
So we give a minimum of 300,000 shillings.
All right.
Or 0.15, whichever is higher. So that is the minimum that we have. And then now, as they continue growing their deposits, of course, now the percentage also grows.
Yes. Now, this money that they get to, it's contributed on a yearly basis.
Exactly.
Now, when a bank goes under and the funds of the public are in that situation, Are these the funds that are used to like refund the clients, or what is that fund used for?
Okay, it's good for Kenyans to understand this.
Yeah.
There are two scenarios here. Once a bank fails, in the unlikely event, let me still put the word unlikely event.
Yes.
In the unlikely event,
we don't look forward to it.
Yeah, I don't look forward to it.
Yeah.
In the unlikely event this bank fails, we first place it under receivership. And once you place it under receivership, it's not, because the only time that you'll go for the 100,000 is when it's in liquidation. Like you saw in Chase and Imperial, we paid people up to about 35% of their deposit while we are still under receivership. Because as a receiver, I can still continue with the business of that bank, but of course in a limited way, because I have also to protect this bank. But once the bank has been placed in liquidation, the first payment that comes out is the 100,000.
All right.
And this 100,000 is covering 97% of the deposit accounts.
All right.
But in deposit value is 8%. We are indeed in an advanced now stage of reviewing that. A lot of people are talking, why are you not reviewing that 100,000? But I tell them, fine, we'll review. But for me and KDIC, we don't want to reach there. Liquidation should be the end game in our resolution process. Like what we did in Chase Bank.
Yes.
Chase Bank, 75% of Chase Bank, we sold it to SBM. So depositors are able now to access 75% of their deposit in a structured manner. SBM has paid about 17%, so they'll continue paying the other one within 3 years.
All right.
The banks which I have in liquidation, some of them have taken me 30 years, actually, sorry, 20 years, even to raise 10%, because those were the dark ages of our financial system. But of course, we are past that.
Yeah.
Those ones we call legacy, which were days when there was no prudential guidelines, but we also want to really thank Central Bank. They have really come up with very stringent prudential guidelines and all that, which has reduced some of. That's why you see now in Chase, we could manage to recoup 75% of the assets. Imperial, we're also at an advanced stage with KCB. We are working with KCB. So far, the depositors have accessed 35% of their deposits.
All right. Now, how do you determine which other financial institution comes into play to just help salvage the situation? In the case of Imperial, there's KCB. In the case of Chase, there's SBM. Yes.
We did an expression of interest, which was done. However, our law allows us also to do what we call a private treaty. Okay. Indeed, in most of the jurisdictions outside us, they do it private because of the sensitivity of that bank. For us, in future, what we want to do, we really want to work very closely with the central bank and the National Treasury. That once a bank shows some signs of distress, while it's still on a going concern, we can even do what we have done with Chase Bank. And that's what is being done in other jurisdictions. That we can identify a strong bank through central bank. Then we can identify banks. They can come, they can look at the assets. The one who gives us the best deal, we give that bank to them. Tomorrow you see the bank moves from Mahmoud Bank to Jain Bank and people continue doing their business. There will be no disruption of that business. That is our dream. But our biggest dream is not even to go to that stage. It's to work very closely with the central bank through risk minimization frameworks. Indeed, what we want to do by next year, Kenyans, we are coming with what we call a risk-based premium. Currently, the premium we charge... What is that? Yes. Currently, we charge our banks what we call a flat rate of 0.15%. All right. Come next year, we are now actually, indeed, now we are also on a sensitization mission with our banks. Is that we are developing a model where now the premium now will be risk-based. It will be, you'll be profiled as a bank by the central bank. Yes. Once the higher the risk of the bank, the higher the premium. The lower the risk, the lower the premium. This will even assist now banks themselves, because this is what we call to enhance market discipline. The banks now will also now reduce their risk appetites. Yes, because there won't be that flat rate that cuts across, yet one bank is doing so well, the other one is... Excellent. Thank you, Jen. Jen, you're already a KDIC member. Because that has been one of the complaints. That some of us big banks, we are investing heavily, so we are subsidizing for inefficient banks. So we want to bring equity. We want everybody to be on that platform of making sure that they have managed their risks and they can do business. Because one thing I want to inform Kenyans is that as much as banks are private entities, which we support, which we really want to safeguard, they should know that what they are holding in those banks are public assets because those are deposits of Wanjikos, Fatumas, and Atienos.
The country's bank net, financial net.
So they're holding that trust that Kenyans has trusted with them. So that is why issue of integrity should be the highest.
Yes.
Issue of corporate governance should be the highest. That whoever is there, whatever you are handling, know that this money you are handling is for Wanjiko. It's not for Mahmoud who claims to own the bank because my ownership is only 10%.
Yes.
But since you hear Mahmoud owns a bank or Mahmoud is the chairman, no. This money belongs to the public. So it must be prudently. We are not refusing banks to invest, but invest wisely and prudently. At the back of your mind, you know, this money belongs to Kenyans. Because you can see, as a failure of a bank, you can see how it disrupts lives, businesses, and properties. It does not only disrupt, actually the shareholder is enjoying, is sitting there. But who is suffering? The Wanjikos are the ones who are suffering.
At the end of
the day. So that is why this is the narrative we want to put to the banks. We even want even to put to the workers of the banks that what you're doing is a cardinal responsibility to protect Kenyans' deposits. And that's why KDIC is there.
All right. Now, you've just mentioned the new rates that will be coming up, the premium rates that will be coming up in the next year, which is just supposed to be some of the discipline measures that you'll be putting in place for the banks. What other plans are there, or does KDIC have to just ensure that banks know that there is somebody more of a watchdog?
Of course, we are going to work very closely with the central bank because regulatory powers are with the central bank. Resolution powers is with KDIC. That's how now we partner with central bank. So we are going now to work very closely with central bank that we see because once now the central bank now does the supervision and everything and profiles that bank according to its risk-based parameters. That is what we shall be using in now working out what premium we should charge. So you can see how our interconnectedness with central bank. And I always say central bank, KDIC, and National Treasury, we are all tied in the hip. So the most important thing and the success of all this is close coordination and cooperation.
And how is that relationship as of now
between
KDIC, Central, and Treasury?
It's an excellent relationship. We continue to harness it. We'll continue to cement it. We want to deepen it, actually. So that whatever KDIC is coming up with is the same thing that will be with Treasury, will be with the central bank, and will be with the industry. Don't rule out because the industry are our members, the banks. So we shall all want to work together to protect Wanjiko. And to make sure that we have a strong and we are saying problems will always be there. Even a human being, as you walk, you can be sick. So we are even asking our members, the banks, they can even come to us and say maybe we're having challenges in some of these places. So that we can see how we can correct these things. Not to leave a challenge until it becomes terminal. Then you come to us when you know now the bankers, and then you start now doing some other things, trying to plug holes, which later become floods.
Nasemanga samaki mkundi angali mbichi.
Basi na Swahili ndio. So mimi nasema that you continue plugging that hole until it becomes a river. It washes you away. So one thing we want to assure Kenyans is that please, once you see KDIC, know it is your true partner, know it is your corporation because this one is owned by Kenyans and it is there for you. And please, in case of anything, we'll give you all our contacts. And you'll be seeing a lot of us, there will be a lot of visibility of KDIC because it is one of our strong strategic pillar. So that Wanjikos, Fatumas, Atienos, Akelos can indeed have confidence with KDIC so that once they hear KDIC has taken a management of a bank, they know their bank is safe. That's one thing we want to assure Kenyans.
All right, now so for somebody out there who's asking, okay, so now what differentiates KDIC from a regular bank, given that KDIC also collects funds? How would you respond to that?
KDIC does not collect funds. KDIC only charges premium because it's a service we are rendering. Okay, we don't collect any funds. Jain, you better get this very clear because I want Kenyans to get this very, very clear.
Yes, please.
KDIC, the role of KDIC is to provide deposit insurance, just like an insurance company. Look at any insurance company. It does not collect any, but it charges you premium. It gives you a certificate, isn't it? So KDIC charges premiums. Who are its members? The banks and the microfinances. We collect a premium per annum. We give them a certificate, which they display, showing that they are members of KDIC.
They're insured.
They're insured.
In other terms.
Yes. In the unlikely event of a failure goes to liquidation, Kenyans will be paid their 100,000, where I'll cover 97% of the depositors in that bank. Okay?
Okay.
So we're telling them now we want now to give you what we call incentives. And one of the incentives we want to give you, let's go risk-based. Then we start now pricing you on your risk.
All right.
The higher the risk, the higher the price. The lower the risk, the lower. So that we also make even banks now work themselves to make sure that whatever decisions they make there is prudent, wise, and it makes business sense.
All right, so let me see if I've gotten you correctly.
Yes.
KDIC is basically a bank for the banks. It serves more of an insurer.
Insurer, call it a, don't call it a
Insurer,
bank.
insurer for the banks.
Of the banks.
Yes.
Yes.
In the unlikely event that anything goes wrong with the bank,
Yes.
your money is still safe. You will
Yes.
not lose all your money.
Yes.
You will get part of it as
Correct.
you find ways to ensure that you get the entire sum.
Correct. And now KDIC is called a resolution authority.
Okay.
Resolution means to resolve, isn't it? We'll be resolving issues with banks together with central bank and the National Treasury.
All right.
That's why we have to work together in tandem to do that.
All right.
Okay? Because those powers are vested with KDIC. Because if you read the KDI Act, those receivership powers, those transfers, whatever you saw the carving out you have been hearing about Chase Bank, all those are powers vested in the KDI Act.
All right.
Yes.
Now, in the case of SACCOs, how are they involved in how are they brought into the loop?
No, SACCOs, they fall under their regulatory, they have a different regulatory authority.
All right,
called SASRA. And I think they will be now also starting their own deposit, something like a deposit guarantee fund.
All right.
I'm sure they're at an advanced stage because that is another sector that really needs also to be managed.
Yeah, to be regulated.
Yes. But it's outside our purview.
All right.
Yeah.
So KDIC only deals with the banks as it stands.
And microfinance.
And microfinance institutions.
Yes.
All right. So last year you had the roadshow that happened in Mombasa in September between the 14th and the 15th.
Yes.
It was successful.
Yes.
Do you think the awareness in Mombasa was actually the target, what you were aiming to achieve in Mombasa actually happened?
Indeed, it happened because one thing which amazed us is that people came out in hordes, big numbers. And later when they were taken through the motion, the questions which they were being asked, Kenyans are very sharp. Don't underestimate Kenyans. People started now even answering some of those questions, and there were giveaways and takeaways. So we want to see maybe which is the region that has answered most of our questions, and then we can even reward them. So now we expect now today Kisumu, please our brothers and sisters in Kisumu and its environs, go listen to our teams there, and listen carefully so that you can understand, and then you can do what you can even answer those questions. They're very good giveaways. We have very good caps, T-shirts, and all that. Those are part of the thing that we really want to have a feel of our public.
And what you aim to do with the public.
Do.
So the roadshow will be happening in Kisumu from today through to tomorrow. So if you're in Kisumu and its environs, please environs rather, please be sure to just approach them. They are very approachable. They are ready to listen to you and to ask any questions that you may have in regards to KDIC, what it does, what it is in the first place. There's somebody ready to just help you understand what KDIC is all about, because it's all about protecting your money and ensuring that your funds that you work so hard for do not just disappear, you know, which is the ultimate fear that most Kenyans have. So as you just bring the conversation to an end, your message to the public as a whole, and this awareness process it happened in Mombasa, now in Kisumu, you're about to go through to all other counties. Yes, indeed, we are planning, of course, budget allows. We'll try to reach, ultimately. Yes, we'll try to reach all the counties. And first we started with Mombasa, Kisumu, then we'll also be in Nairobi. Then we'll go to Western, and we see whether we can cover all the counties. But my message to Kenyans is that Kenyans, our banking system is strong, sound. So don't keep any money under your mattress, please. Take your money to the banks. KDIC is there for you. Central Bank is there for you. The National Treasury is there for you. The government of Kenya is there for you. Please put your money, let that money build our country, because once the money comes into the banking system, it goes into investment, it goes into infrastructural development, and that is the money that we need Kenyans, even to support His Excellency's Big Four agenda. That is the money that, don't keep any money under your mattresses, because there are two people who will come for that money, either the rat or the robber. So please bring this money to us, bring this money to our membership, that is the banks. Then you are assured by KDIC that our dream, in which we all want to drive, is not to have any bank failure in this country. And in the unlikely event of a failure, we shall promptly, that's the word we want to use, promptly, proactively, and urgently
resolve those things.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And that is what KDIC is all about, the Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation. It is a parastatal and independent body, of course, working in close relations with the central bank and treasury to just make sure that your funds are safe. In the unlikely event that a bank goes under, your finances will be safe. It's the same case that was with Imperial Bank, with Chase Bank. All depositors, their funds were protected, and that is what KDIC is all about. So once again, if you are in Kisumu and its environs, hey, this word is refusing to come out today. If you're in Kisumu or its environs, please be sure to just approach them, ask those basic questions, and make sure at the end of the day you understand, so that as the CEO has just said, don't put your money under the mattress. Either the rat or the robbers will come for it. So thank you so much, Mr. Mahmoud, for just coming and sharing this information with us and the public as a whole.
Thank you, Kenyans. Thank you, everybody. And let's build our nation. God bless you all.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, the conversations does continue here on Good Morning Kenya. We have another interview coming right up. So keep talking to us. The hashtag on Twitter is Good Morning Kenya.